A fearsome flurry, and he's down. The crowd roars. Another fighter falls beneath the thunder of a man they call the monster. He isn't a myth, not a ghost story whispered in gyms. He's real, and his name is Naoya Inoue. From the quiet streets of Japan to the brightest stages of world boxing, he has become the living embodiment of fear, precision, and destruction. When the bell rings, it's not just a fight, it's a hunt. Born in 1993 in Zama, Kanagawa, Naoya Inoue grew up in a nation that respected boxing but rarely ruled it. Japanese fighters were known for heart and discipline, but they were often seen as undersized warriors fighting uphill against a world dominated by Mexicans, Filipinos, and Americans. Inoue never accepted those limits. Trained by his father, Shingo Inoue, he developed a style that fused Japanese discipline with something raw, an instinct to finish what he started. They called him the monster not for his size, but for the way he erased the boundary between speed and violence. From the moment he turned professional in 2012, Inoue showed no patience for slow climbs. 5 fights into his career, he was already knocking on the door of a world title. The Japanese public was intrigued. The global boxing world barely noticed. That would soon change. In only his 6th bout, the young phenom faced WBC flyweight champion Adrián El Confesor Hernandez, a proud Mexican warrior with 4 successful title defenses. Most believed Inoue was too green, too small, and too soon. But the monster didn't believe in waiting his turn. That night, Inoue walked through the ropes like a predator sensing weakness. From the opening bell, he launched combinations with the calm violence of a man who already knew the ending. His right hand cracked like a thunderclap, his left hook tore into Hernandez's ribs, and the champion realized he was trapped with something different. The Mexican fought bravely, his pride refusing to surrender, but by the 6th round his resistance was broken. A crushing right hand sent him to the canvas, and the referee had no choice but to stop it. Japan had a new world champion, just 20 years old, in his 6th fight. The monster was born. Inoue's knockout of Hernandez echoed far beyond Japan. Analysts placed him 9th on the pound-for-pound list, a staggering leap for a fighter with fewer than 10 professional bouts. But Inoue wasn't chasing rankings, he was chasing greatness. His next target was Jean-Pierre Yoan Boyeaux, an undefeated Frenchman on a 31-fight win streak, taller, longer, and supremely confident. Boyeaux believed he could use his reach to tame the monster. He was wrong before the first bell rang. From the opening exchange, Inoue's punches landed with the weight of a heavyweight trapped inside a bantamweight's frame. A left hook found Boyeaux's jaw, freezing him mid-motion. He stumbled backward, shocked by the power of a man nearly half his size. Inoue's body shots came next, surgical, cruel, and unrelenting. The Japanese fighter folded the Frenchman with a hook to the liver that ended the contest and silenced every doubt about his legitimacy. The monster wasn't just a nickname anymore, it was a prophecy fulfilled. To many fans, Inoue looked more like a pop idol than a destroyer. His calm demeanor, clean-cut appearance, and quiet confidence made it easy to underestimate him. But once the gloves were laced, appearances meant nothing. The ring was his hunting ground. Every opponent who dared enter discovered the truth. The monster smiled politely outside the ropes, but inside, he was merciless. In 2018, that truth traveled across the sea. British champion Jamie McDonnell, a 6-foot bantamweight with years of experience, laughed off Inoue's reputation. "I can't even pronounce his name," he joked. "I'll just call him Inoue." A few days later, McDonnell learned to pronounce every letter the hard way. The bell rang, and Inoue exploded forward like a storm breaking over Tokyo Bay. His fists cut through McDonnell's defense, each shot shaking the taller man to his core. Less than 2 minutes into the first round, the monster unleashed a barrage so violent that McDonnell collapsed against the ropes, bewildered and beaten. The referee waved it off. Inoue had just destroyed the reigning champion in 112 seconds. Reporters in London could no longer laugh. The monster from Japan had arrived on the world stage, and he was real. Inoue's victory marked another milestone, not just for himself, but for Japanese boxing. "I think the level of Japanese boxing is going up," he said afterward. "We're earning the respect we deserve." He was right. But he wasn't done. Later that year, Inoue entered the prestigious World Boxing Super Series, a tournament designed to crown the best bantamweight on earth. His quarterfinal opponent was Juan Carlos Payano, a Dominican veteran ranked among the division's top 3. Most experts expected a technical chess match. What they got lasted 70 seconds. Payano came forward confidently, firing jabs. Inoue waited, studied, and then detonated a two-punch combination so fast it blurred on replay. The straight right hand landed flush, and Payano fell like he'd been unplugged. The knockout was so sudden, so clean, that the crowd sat stunned before erupting in disbelief. It was voted Ring Magazine's Knockout of the Year. Each victory was a message. The monster doesn't fight rounds, he ends stories. And the next chapter would be his most brutal yet. In May 2019, Inoue faced Puerto Rican champion Emmanuel Rodríguez in the tournament semifinals. Rodríguez was undefeated at 19-0, known for his slick movement and granite chin. Many predicted Inoue would finally be tested. Tensions flared before the fight when Rodríguez's trainer shoved Shingo Inoue during the pre-fight workouts. Naoya didn't react. He simply smiled. The reckoning would come inside the ropes. From the opening bell, Rodríguez came forward, trying to bully the smaller man. For one round, he found brief success, landing jabs and short counters. But in the second, Inoue adjusted, timing, distance, and destruction aligning in one perfect sequence. A left hook detonated on Rodríguez's jaw, sending him sprawling to the canvas. The monster stalked him with the calm of a surgeon. Another hook to the body folded Rodríguez, his face twisted in agony. When he rose, Inoue went for the kill. A final left ripped into the ribs, and the proud Puerto Rican crumbled for good. The undefeated champion who had never been dropped was annihilated in 2 rounds. Inoue didn't just win, he sent a warning to the entire division. By now, fighters weren't lining up for a shot, they were avoiding him. Signing to fight Naoya Inoue was like volunteering to enter a cage with a bloodthirsty beast. Opponents knew what awaited them: precision, power, and pain. Yet still, one by one, they stepped up, hoping to solve a puzzle that had broken every man before them. Soon after, an American named Antonio Nieves spoke up. He called Inoue overrated and claimed the Japanese star had only fought at home, protected by smaller opponents. It was a common refrain, until the bell rang. Fighting in the United States for the first time, Inoue entered determined to silence every critic. From the opening minute, his punches echoed through the arena. Right hands crashed through Nieves' guard, left hooks buried themselves in his ribs. The American tried to counter, but every exchange left him absorbing more punishment than he gave. Inoue's combinations were like machine gun bursts, accurate, relentless, and devastating. In the 5th round, a left hook to the body forced Nieves to his knees. Pain etched across his face as he tried to breathe. He rose, only to be met with another barrage. The monster didn't shout, didn't taunt, he simply dismantled his foe piece by piece. Nieves survived the round but couldn't continue. His corner, unwilling to risk permanent damage, stopped the fight. Inoue's message to the American audience was clear: Japan's fighters could no longer be ignored. By now, Naoya Inoue had become something more than a boxer. He was an idea, discipline wrapped in destruction. In a sport built on showmanship, he was quiet. In an age of self-promotion, he was humble. But when the gloves touched, humility vanished. The monster's mission was to restore the essence of fighting: precision, purpose, and finality. Every blow told a story, and every knockout reminded the world that skill could coexist with savagery. Inoue's journey through the World Boxing Super Series led him to the final, a legendary clash with Filipino icon Nonito Donaire in November 2019. Donaire was a 4-division champion, a future Hall of Famer, and the most experienced opponent Inoue had ever faced. The fight was billed as youth versus wisdom, speed versus timing, and the monster versus the legend. For 12 rounds, it lived up to every expectation. Inoue broke his orbital bone in the early rounds but refused to back down. Donaire, bloodied but unbowed, traded punches in one of the decade's greatest fights. Inoue's power and resilience carried him to victory, earning the Muhammad Ali Trophy and unifying the Bantamweight division. The monster had proven not only that he could dominate, but also that he could endure. After conquering Bantamweight, Inoue moved through divisions like a tidal wave, claiming titles at Super Bantamweight and Featherweight. He joined the rare fraternity of 3-division world champions, his record glittering with knockouts and his aura untouchable. Undefeated at 21-0, he stood as the embodiment of Japanese excellence, a fighter who changed how the world viewed boxing from his country. No longer were Japanese boxers seen as undersized warriors chasing respect, they were champions setting the standard. What made Inoue so terrifying wasn't just his power. It was his precision. Every shot had purpose. He didn't waste punches, he calculated them. His timing was so sharp that opponents often didn't see the finishing blow until they were already falling. Analysts compared his combinations to classical music, structured, rhythmic, and devastating. His right hand to the jaw, left hook to the body sequence became a signature, a pattern of destruction that ended countless fights. Watching Inoue was witnessing the science of boxing stripped down to its purest, most brutal form. Yet behind the destruction lay humility. Inoue rarely celebrated wildly. He didn't scream into cameras or insult rivals. His expression after victory was the same as before the fight: calm, focused, and respectful. That quiet intensity made him even more dangerous. Fighters who mistook politeness for weakness discovered the difference the moment he threw his first punch. Outside Japan, Western audiences finally embraced him. American commentators who once dismissed him began calling him one of the best pound-for-pound fighters alive. Fans who had never watched a bantamweight bout were tuning in to see the monster work. In a sport often obsessed with heavyweights, Inoue brought the spotlight back to the lower divisions, proving that true power isn't measured by size but by precision and will. His reputation grew not just through victories but through fear. Boxers at his weight began choosing other routes rather than face him. Promoters hesitated to risk their prospects. The monster had become the division's gatekeeper, the final boss no one wanted to meet. But Inoue remained unmoved by fame or fear. His focus was singular: fight the best, destroy the myth of comfort, and leave a legacy carved in knockout highlights and broken records. Each time he entered the ring, the air changed. The crowd's cheers softened into anticipation, the kind that comes before something violent and beautiful. Then came the bell, and within minutes the inevitable: body shots thudding like drums, heads snapping back, opponents wilting under pressure. The pattern repeated from Tokyo to Las Vegas, from Yokohama to Glasgow. The monster appeared, hunted, and conquered. For Japan, Inoue represented more than sporting pride. He became a symbol of evolution, a generation raised on discipline now commanding respect through dominance. His success inspired a wave of young Japanese fighters who realized they no longer had to travel abroad to be recognized. The world would come to them. As of today, Naoya Inoue remains undefeated, a champion across 3 weight classes, a man whose knockout rate belongs to legends. He carries himself with quiet menace, the kind of calm only the truly dangerous possess. Analysts struggle to find weaknesses. Opponents struggle to survive long enough to test them. Every punch he throws is measured, every finish inevitable. When asked how he remains so composed, he simply says, "Because I already know what will happen." Inoue's story is not one of hype or controversy. It's a story of discipline perfected into destruction. From the moment he stepped into the professional ring, He has rewritten what it means to be a Japanese boxer, shifting the balance of power in the lighter divisions. He has beaten champions from Mexico, France, Britain, Puerto Rico, and the United States. He has unified titles, shattered bones, and left a trail of respect in his wake. But perhaps his greatest accomplishment is the fear he inspires. Not fear of brutality, but fear of inevitability. Every opponent studies hours of film, builds perfect game plans, and trains to exploit the smallest flaw, and still they fall. Because Inoue fights with something deeper than technique. He fights with certainty. The certainty that when the bell rings, his opponent's will is already breaking. The monster's legacy continues to grow. He stands as proof that greatness can come from humility, that devastation can wear a smile, and that sometimes the scariest man in boxing doesn't need to speak at all. When the lights dim and the ring announcer calls his name, the world already knows the ending. Somewhere in the crowd, a hush falls, and every fan feels the same chill. The monster has entered the ring. And when the first punch lands, it's not just another bout. It's the continuation of a story written in sweat, silence, and knockout power. The story of Naoya Inoue, the Japanese monster who turned doubt into domination and fear into art.